This is RPMMORadio,
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
a podcast all about role-playing and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job.
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Sibh'Bae, and Kishless.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Greetings and welcome to RPMMORadio. I am muted. Oops. Greetings and welcome to RPMMORadio. Works a lot better when I don't have myself muted. A little bit. This is our 33rd episode, The Gender Bender. It's going to be fairly non-politically correct, as talking about most things these days has to be. So we are down pretty much everybody right now. It's just me, Ashen Phoenix, and Sib, who
Hello.
are the only two responsible people in the entire show. We're here for you. Kishmis is working. He may join us a little bit later. But Jazz, I don't know. She had a thing that she forgot. She doesn't think of you the way we think of you, with love and care in our heart.
People.
And Sibh'Bae is just completely MIA. It's just
Shame.
yeah. I don't know.
Shame.
So apparently people don't know how Discord works and that you can say things and let people know. I don't need to did you mean to write shave, Sotha? I'm just saying. I'm growing it out on purpose unless you meant to write shame. But I'm trying to grow out a beard. It doesn't look that bad. The woman likes it, and that's really all that matters.
I like it.
You don't count. I meant my other woman.
Wait a minute.
What? No.
You're speaking of Tarvala, aren't you?
Sure. If you say so. Anyway, we're just gonna have the two of us. Jazz should be here after like another half hour. She's I don't know, just clubbing baby seals, I think, is what she does, or something like that. That's something that is awful and horrible instead of being here with you guys. So I want to thank everybody here for joining us live at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio every Saturday night at 7 Central Time. We really appreciate everybody showing up and watching the show there. You, of course, can call in if you want to on our Discord channel, and with the complete and utter lack of hosts on the show right now, we would totally appreciate that. So you can do that through rpmmoradio.com/Discord. Just throw yourself in the caller waiting room. And I will say, it's not a bad chat to be in just in general. We actually had a couple good chats here throughout the day, or throughout the week rather, on Roleplay in general. It's a good place for people from lots of different games, given a lot of it right now is also ESO still, just because that's where we're playing and that's, where the people we've talked to. But we've got a good, some Final Fantasy 14, some WoW players. We're growing beyond the borders and into the other MMOs, so that's helpful. But we had some pretty good conversations, long ones, as people that came back from like an hour of gone said, "Holy shit, you guys were really chatting away." So feel free to join us there. We're going to be talking about people and the reasons why role players would choose or want to play the opposite gender than what they are. As, for instance, me playing Tarvala. It's multifaceted. There's not one overlying reason. If some people just have different things they like to roleplay and different things they like to try and different reasons. And we're going to kind of go over those. We're also going to go over some of the stereotypes and things that, about men and women, and some of the things I've seen over the years as well, when I've seen clearly male player playing female, all the way back from the early 2000 days of EverQuest, and how rampantly stupid men are in that regard. Yeah, I know. You might want to choke up on the mic a bit, baby.
Oh, I was looking at the
Yeah.
monitor. Sorry.
Yeah,
I was
gotta
turning
look
my
forward.
head.
Look forward.
You look forward.
Look forward, woman. So,
No.
what were you gonna say? Huh? You want to
No.
start with me?
Huh?
I don't care. I will treat you like the woman that you are, and I will pretend to be the woman that I play, and that way it will be okay if we fight. And it will also be a lot hotter.
Girl fight.
It'll be
Girl
way
fight.
sexier.
Slapping. Slapping.
That's right. So I want to give a special thanks, of course, to all of our Patreon donors at the Raid Boss level. That guy Laza and to Truth Bob. I'm also going to go ahead and throw a special thanks out to Gangsy Girl, who still supports us, of course. It is in the chat right now. And also plays a dude when she's a chick. So this episode's kind of in that regard, got right up her alley. Or his alley. His or alley. So this is going to be a lot of fun and confusing. So
Why
as
gotta be his first, huh? Why
uh,
can't it be hers?
because the patriarchy demands it.
No.
Patriarchy.
What? The patriarchy of one? You?
Technically, me being the one and only man, I still outnumber you.
Oh, boo.
Because I can lift more than you, and that makes me stronger. Like 10 Russian women, I'm like that strong.
Anyway.
Right. So you can, of course, listen as the podcast on iTunes, Android podcast apps, Podbean, Stitcher, all that good stuff. So with that, we're going to go ahead and see what all of us have been doing in our role play. Let's see who, go ahead and go with Jazz. Oh, wait. Okay, we'll hit the Strafe. Oh, wait, no, but how about Kit? No, at least he has a reason. Yeah, that's right, guys. This is what you get. This is what you get. You know how relentlessly I mock. I mock you all. So, you want me to go or you want to go, Sib?
Mine is pretty short, so I'll just go first. Let's see. Did Tea House on Sunday night, which I love just to go there and sit. There it's up in what's that called? Vardenfell. And it's just random RP. You can go as any kind of character, even though it's what is it, the Dunmere city for Vivek. But really, you see and meet all kinds of people up there. Argonians. It's actually ran by Kati, who's a Khajiit or Khajiit. But did that with you on Kinix and Zabin, which was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was fun till the trolls showed up. Then
yes, those.
Yeah.
At least they're professional trolls, unlike the guy we had last week, who was just a sad, pathetic troll.
Then Monday night did ordinator training, and then the rest of the week has kind of been a bust because I have just been
an utter bust.
Yeah, work is just crazy. So, and I'm hoping after this next week, I'll be able to get back into the RPing swing things.
Oh, I hope so, God.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But that's
one
about
more week for us on our mail count, but whereas usually we get done at a decent time. I didn't get done. I didn't get home till 5:30 today. Usually I'm home by like 3 or 4.
Well, it's better than my 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah, which was also awful. But it's been like that every single day. Even it's just been shitty. So we've been exhausted.
I did do a Luna Guild night on Thursday, and I also hit up the servants were having. I can't remember the name of the house that moved into Fort Aldner. I don't remember, but I did that, and then a Luna Guild night on Thursday. But I didn't get to stay very long, and I just chatted up with friend Caves, and that's about it. That's short and sweet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did the same thing with you. The ordinator training, of course, on Monday. What was that? What was that we did? Was it?
It was we fought the high ordinators.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So
And-
it was was it a 10-on-3 brawl?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first on each team, first on their side to get 12 hits, and if they hit us 8 times, which we had 10 people, first will get the either 12 or 10. would win, and basically the commander, oddly enough, like the commander Lilel, she basically took all 12 hits all upon herself. The other two each got one or two, but really, with the way she rolled and got waylaid, it really didn't matter. She just got her ass knocked out. But it was just one of those, it was the way of the rolls. I mean, I don't think she rolled above like a 4, maybe a 7 once. So it went super quick, and she just got stomped, which, which was kind of the joke, but
And she was a very good
oh
sport
yeah.
about it. Her character was laughing, and I mean, it was
Because
really a lot
in a
of fun.
way, it's her having trained them properly, and in a lot of ways too, it made sense in character because she's a Telvanni mage, which anyone outside of Elder Scrolls, I mean, they're literally all they do, and she was the one to go after. Like Roger Kishmas was there, but he's more of a melee kind of a thing. Somebody just posted in our guild chat what Roger was rolling, which was a 5. He rolled a giant 5.
That is so funny.
But
Thank you, Laza.
she was just got waylaid. But she's a strong mage character, so if you're doing it strategically, if she got away from people and had chance to channel her magic, she would easily have, gotten a hit on every single one of them, even with a single spell, possibly, if the rolls had gone that way. But so they all charged after her, and boom. The other one, I actually ran an event this week. It was the one day I actually felt I haven't hardly logged in all week except for on Tuesday.
You were off work that day. We'll give you that.
Well, that was just a coincidence. I had already planned this before I knew that was going to happen. So, and I slept the entire day almost. But what I did is I ran an event based off of interrogation training. I'd looked up various ways and things for interrogations, and the actual real world versions of it, and the different styles, and had wrote up a thing and verifying those. And of course, the last one is naturally torture, because that's where most roleplay goes. There are things like the potions, or drugging, but things like sleep deprivation or white noise, which, for any of you older people, that's what they did with Manuel Noriega, I think it was, when he was took sanctuary in that church, and they just blasted rock and roll music on giant concert-sized speakers into that church to wear him down so that he couldn't sleep. It was their version, they couldn't go in there, so they did that to get him out. And with roleplay, really, we don't have the time to like sleep deprive people or wear them down with that. So it tends to go to torture. And for anybody that's seen military training or been in the military, you know that you have to actually go through some of that stuff. Like with the gas masks in the gas chamber, then where you have to take the tear gas masks off and actually, breathe in the gas. Another one is if you've seen the videos where people get tased, like that one where the girl gets tased and she grabs onto the nearest thing to her when her body clenches up, which of course is the guy holding her up's balls. So they both go down in a heap. That's one of my favorite videos. I love that one. One I really, really want to do is the chicken one, which, Sib, you asked me what this is. And if anybody's never looked up chicken, like military chicken training, rubber chicken training, what it is they have all their people lined up. And the ranking officers come in with a rubber chicken that squeaks, and they'll come up behind them and they'll like slowly put the chicken around their face and like squeak it right by their face. And if you smirk or laugh or you lose your composure, you have to get down and do push-ups. But it's like a disciplinary thing. Like and it is, I mean, honestly, there's no way I could do it. I mean, the second it makes a squeak just watching the video, I'm like, I've got to figure out a way to do that in character. But with this one, I did 2 different types of thing. One of them was like a taser, where I did low voltage lightning spell. And they had, the rolls were, they all had to go through it for 10 seconds. And then when they rolled after that, the higher the number, the longer it was before they jumped out of the zone where they were taking the damage. And I just, I was real descriptive. I think it was something along the lines of, it feels like molten metal being poured into your veins and just searing you from the inside, and your muscles contracting so tight. It feels like your bones are going to snap in half. And so they, it was kind of a contest with the rolls just to see who could last the longest. It wasn't really anything more than bragging rights and just, an extra little bit of fun. And the other one was kind of in the vein of waterboarding, only without the water and without a board, because that would take a really long time with a group of like 8 people. So she just sucked the air out of their lungs and just sucked the air away from it, and made it feel as though they couldn't breathe. And then of course it was the same thing. The longer you went without the air, the longer you just lasted. But it seemed like a lot of fun. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. It was definitely kind of a different role play than some of the stuff we usually do. So I like to try to come up with new things. And I know they've had, every guild's probably had some kind of, if they're a dark guild or they're military like that, and time is of the essence, that they do different things like that. So figured we give something a try like that. But that was pretty much all I fucking did for my role play, because I was just exhausted. Like even right now, I'm sure I'm trying to be funny and jokey, but I'm like, but it's pretty rough. Before we get into our main topic and of course our advertisement for the day, I wanted to talk about this thing Cameron Chan sent a picture of. It was the title. Let's see here. What did she title it? I found the actual article. Experts warn of new cyber threat called role-playing. I mean, okay, so Sib, you didn't read the article, did you?
No, I thought it was a joke. I seriously thought it was a joke.
It's a real... Okay, so since you think it's a joke... No. Don't click on it. Don't click on it and read it. What do you think... And I found a thread, and it's called, found a Fox 59. The other one was, what was this? That was, I think it's ABC Channel 4 was what Cameron Chan did. So yeah, it's making the round. So it's not just, it's in several different local news stations, Fox, CNN, ABC, not CNN, but ABC, CBS. But the one on Fox says, experts say role-playing, quotations, is latest cyber threat. So what do you think that's talking about?
I would guess that they were talking about, like, maybe... I want to go down the dark aisle,
Go wherever you think it... I mean, it clearly got on the news.
Like ERPing, and, the threat would be, like, hurting families, or, how some couples are not okay with ERP. Like if one's doing it and the other one doesn't know about it. That's what I would think, but am I wrong?
You are.
Okay.
It in fact has almost nothing to do with role play.
Oh, you're kidding me.
But it kind of does, but it's super creepy and very, very cringy. Like the headline alone is like, for us, it's kind of comical. When I read into it, it's actually kind of weird. It actually has to do with social media of all things. And what it is, I'll read a little bit of the article. I know it makes for great radio just reading what somebody else wrote, but go with it. But so many social media users post personal pictures and online with the goal of sharing family milestones. But now, cybersecurity experts warn that others are taking these pictures and claiming them as their own. It's called role-playing. And it happened to one mom blogger named Lindsay Paris, who has a warning for others. I flew into what I like to call mother lion rage, the urge to protect. Okay, because I said it like that because that is a fucking stupid sentence. Mother lion rage. I mean, I get it, but call it something else, lady. But basically what happens is this woman, she had posted pictures of her 18-month-old at the time, and he was sleeping in his crib, safe in his house, and had no idea, and she had no idea what was going on. So what happened was that this woman, Paris, saw her son's photo on a stranger's cover picture on Facebook, and the person was presenting her 18-month-old son as her own. Any thoughts on that, Sib?
I was reading the article as you were reading it.
Is it a little weird?
That's pretty creepy. That's
Yeah.
pretty weird. Yeah. I don't know how I
there's a
feel about
detective here from the Fishers Police Department. He says some people want a role play to change that. Wow, the guy doesn't speak well when it's written down. Some people want a role play to change their own persona or project a different persona online. Some people have more nefarious purposes.
But I don't consider that nefarious. I mean,
I think the reason is because it can be. Like that one, it's still creepy though.
It's creepy, yes. But whenever we do, I'm lost for words. When we fill out, what are they? Whenever you post something on your character, the bios, the biography on our characters, some of us don't have the talent to draw.
But this isn't that. This is
we
them.
might pick a picture.
No.
I know.
This is real life that they're doing.
Yeah, but she's not taking anything. She just took the picture because she was wanting
someone else's kid.
Well, she was wanting a redheaded kid of her own.
Yeah.
She could have picked any picture. I mean, it's still very creepy, and I hope she never acts on it, but...
Yeah, this is... The next report after this one is local woman steals baby from hospital.
Okay, yeah, then that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
No, I'm not saying that's happened here. I'm just saying that's literally got to be the next step after this. I mean, you're already stealing people's... It's like if you found family photos in somebody else's house on their wall, and they were like, this is my son. All right,
as long as they don't act on it. I mean, because...
Nah, it's creepy. It's wrong.
It is. No, and I will say it's creepy. But you can't say just because somebody has a picture on their Facebook page of somebody else's kid, it doesn't mean they're going to go steal the kid.
But if they're claiming that it's theirs... That's what they're doing. They're putting it up there, and they're like, and this is my 18-month-old son.
I'm not saying it's not creepy, but I don't feel like I don't feel like they should have charges brought against them.
Well, they didn't say anything about charges. They just said that it's dangerous. It's clearly a mental issue. And Insomniac. There are tons of stock photos, but those people actually got paid for that. And that's what stock photos are. Someone got paid to do that, and which, by the way, anybody out there, I would highly advise against ever doing anything for stock photos because you never know what that could be used for, and it could be used for something really, really creepy and bad. And then when you're seen, I think there was a story of somebody that did that, and then they got seen afterwards, and like they almost got beaten up because somebody thought it was the person from the article that the stock photo was used in. So yeah, be careful with that. But yeah, it's really creepy, and also it's totally. I hate that they use the word role playing because that is totally not what role playing is.
No, it gives it a very. I mean, I would have went totally different with that. I did. I mean, when you asked the question, I went down a whole different path. But
yeah, it's just. But yeah, I thought that was kind of creepy and weird, and since it had role play in it, I wanted to talk about that too. But yeah, I still think it's oh, and yeah, they say don't post photos with a GPS locator. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, definitely don't ever use GPS locator because then the creepy person can find where you live. Yeah, and yeah, it is definitely catfishing. It can be something it can be used for something very bad, especially when you get those Russian hackers. They're everywhere now. The Russians are gonna get us all.
They're just gonna get you.
That is why. No, they are not come after me. I am one of their many peoples. We are peoples. But all right. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. Oh, falling out of my chair. So. All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and do a quick word from our sponsors before we hit up our main topic. Okay, so, well, hello there. Oh, That's not the voice I wanted to use. Sorry, I'm super tired, guys. So, hello there. Oh, you want to learn to be a lady just like me? Well, you're in luck. I'll be teaching all people interested in the ways of womandom. The saunter, the hair flip, the mannerisms of a real woman. Everyone from the sophisticated socialite to the psychopathic killer. All in one weekend from me, Madam Corntrestle. The results speak for themselves. I was always wanted to be a beautiful, delicate, but dangerous woman, but I never had the nerve. Thanks to Madam Corntrestle's weekend class, I finally understand what it means to be a real woman with a huge rack. Oh my, yes, with me. I'll walk you, with my help. You'll be the talk of the town at any roleplay event. It is 100% guaranteed unless, of course, you're completely hopeless. It also won't help you get a real lady, because even my skill can't make up for the fact that you're a gaming role player. Ta-ta! Well, with that, how's it going, Jazz?
Hey, Jazz.
Jesus, I'm so sorry. God.
Apologize to the people.
I'm really sorry,
Apologize
guys.
to the people! No, it's all right.
I'm so sorry. What a goddamn day. I'm here now. Yay, I'm so sorry.
Hugs.
Oh,
I
I had to move a client and it just took way longer than it was supposed to, and everything possible that could go wrong did go wrong. And then I was actually in the process of we're turning in the moving van, and I got a beep, and I looked, and even before I read the message, I was swearing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I knew exactly what it was going to be, and my son Nathan was just looking at it with really wide eyes.
Yeah.
And Jason was like, and that son is your mother when you're not around. I said about 6 swear words kind of linked together.
Yeah, it's one continuous string creating a new word.
No.
New multi-syllable.
Our Jazz doesn't swear.
No, none at all.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then there's Straffe. You know you're going to be doing something, and yet you can't just let us know so that I'm not sweating at the last minute, you
I'm
jackass.
so sorry. We'll get even with him later. I didn't realize he wasn't going to be here, but he may have told me, and it just didn't sink in, because I think he did mention he was doing something, but I didn't think
there's
it was
an entire
be...
host chat for that. I'll beat
Well,
him
I know,
later.
but it's not like he actually comes to our host chat most of the time anyway.
I'm going to beat him for it. All right.
Can I watch?
So
okay.
You're just in time for the main topic here, which is, of course, as you saw, role-playing the opposite gender.
Yes.
Okay. Whew, excuse me. I had to vent air from my stomach as a burp.
That's a burp.
Yeah. So men and women, they're different. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed this before, but there are some various... there's definitely physical differences, but more than that, there is some serious fucking mental differences too. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, men are like having another child.
Yeah, but at least we pay bills. Well, most of the time. Unless you get one of those really, really big winners. So, we're different. We tend to like different things. We have different temperaments for sure. And again, we're going to be speaking largely in stereotypes, because stereotypes exist for a reason. It's obviously not the end-all be-all. There's always subtle differences, blah, 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 blah. But this is the only time I'm going to say that, because some people think if you say one thing and as a generality, it's clearly the only thing you can possibly understand, which without any subtlety whatsoever. So getting that out of the way right off the bat. This may not be the most politically correct talk, so if you've been to college in the last 6 months, you might want to plug your ears and go to your safe space because it's going to be one of those talks. I'm kidding. College is horrible. That's why I went to collage. We got to do paper crafts.
Collage.
There we go. I always love seeing that misspelled from college kids, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
It always cracks me up. I went to collage, you know. It shows.
Yeah, so did I. It's called art school.
That was money well spent. Yeah, clearly grammar and spelling wasn't your main course of study. Just that, you know, we men and women, I mean, it's been tens of thousands of years. We still don't understand each other. I don't know what the fuck's going on with women half the time, and women are overthinking anything that's going on with men most of the time, you know, but we really can't exist without one another more than just the obviously biological reason, because, you know, without two people banging parts together, there's no little new people that happen. Until I guess recently with science, but you know, even that, little iffy.
Banging parts together.
Well, that's the scientific term.
Yeah.
Like a 5th grader?
Yeah.
Yeah. Banging the wing wang and the hoo hoo together.
He's
That's
all
what makes
yours.
Babies. It's the wing wong and the hoo hoo. That's what. You bang them together.
Anyway, let's keep going.
Bang them together and you get a stork, and that's where new babies come from.
Stop now.
You get a stork.
Yeah.
Oh, you are a stork, sir. You are a stork.
Uh-huh. So the real question is, why does somebody want to even play another gender outside of their own? Because a lot of role players actually do it.
Yes.
You know, I didn't used to be, have been for the last year. Gangsy Girl in chat and listening, she's a she, and she plays he's. So far as I've been able to see, almost pretty much exclusively, every character I've seen of hers is a dude. So,
she actually said earlier in the chat she chose to play Vitalis. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly,
Think so.
Gangsy, as a male because she worried she'd play a girl too girly, which I totally understand.
Yeah, no, that makes sense actually. And it's a he who is engaged to a male Brenton. Wow, that's gay. I'm kidding. Because it is. No, see, and that's the thing too. Like for me, which apparently is totally different. Like with Tarvala, for my character, she's actually straight. I mean, I'm not. Okay, I totally don't care about the gay thing. Personally, not into it. I've got a dick. I'm good with just the one. I really don't need any more. You know, so that's just my thing. I don't have anybody against anybody who wants others, but you know, it is kind of a different thing. Apparently, I've been told for a guy playing a girl to not be totally into the lesbian thing. Which, don't get me wrong, hot, but I'm just not into. You know, for one, I don't really do the ERP thing to start with, and two, I'm just not interested in a lot of that stuff to begin with when it comes to like relationship role play and ERP and that stuff with the opposite sex. Like I'll Kenix and I mean, it was such a great one night stand. I can't remember her name right now. It has nothing to do with my being tired. It's the booty call.
Zabin.
That's
Oh my
the one.
gosh.
I knew you'd fill it in eventually.
I need to throw something at you.
Yeah, well, no, but
booty
Kenix and
call.
Zabin, they've actually been getting kind of close together, which has been cool. It started out as a kind of a casual one night thing, and now they're kind of hanging out together, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But Tarvala's, you know, she's never going to be into that, and just because I personally don't care to.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, and that's cool, you know, and I know a lot of guys that play women, they do the lesbian thing, and a lot of like girls that play guys do the gay thing. Yeah, I almost said lesbian again, but it's different. Wrong gender.
Wrong gender.
Same thing, same difference, right? But just wrong phrasing. Which is kind of because you can.
Can I just throw something in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just no matter what gender you play, just be prepared to be hit on. Because it's
Pretty
Seriously.
much. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
If you're playing it so you don't get hit on from the other gender, yeah.
Then you'll get hit on with the same
Yeah.
gender. Yeah, there's no winning. It's
No.
yeah.
And if you create an orc to not be hit on, that's
You
also
will be
not
hit
going to
on.
work, right, Sib?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I mean, seriously.
It's sorry. It's one of those nights. Insomniac, it says in the chat, says I RP so many females as well because for some reason I write female characters much better than male characters. I'm less likely to self-insert when I create the opposite sex, which phrasing, by the way.
I went there too this time. So
Right? Yeah, that's
say
his
too
phrasing, not mine. But that's actually what I've found with Tarvala too. Is I'm not a very feminine guy. I can be sensitive. I cry at movies. I cried at Marley and Me, but that's because a dog died. And if you don't cry when a dog dies in a movie, you're a heartless monster, and you should get psychiatric help. That poor dog made that family's life so much better. So that's exactly why I found with Tarvala. I'm far less likely to be myself than in any other character where, I always try not to, but it slips. It happens in every role play where part of you slips into a character. Again, phrasing. This is going to be one of those things where everything's going to sound sexual without meaning to.
Naughty.
But and there's also the challenging, and part of it too, like why I started Tarvala was to challenge myself. I'd never really I've tried several female characters before it. It never worked. I never found one I liked. I just didn't like something about it. Where it was that my main was so much better, I just couldn't, I'm not much of an alt person either. So that was also that for me to contend with. Like I said, it does make you not act like yourself. For the pigs out there like me, it lets you stare at an ass that's, you may like, both male and female, because I know girls like butts too. Let's be honest here. I don't get it from a male perspective, why a guy butt looks good, but I know it does.
I know that in the game, Ian, my male character, he's hot. But
all muscly and ripped and shiny and oily. Mm-hmm.
I can't play him. I tried.
Yeah, and see, no. and so if you had to, so why couldn't you do that, Sib? If you had to really try to psychoanalyze yourself.
I just could not get into the character. I think I played him too. Okay.
Not my fault.
No, you're fine. Here's the situation. I was role-playing with people down in a kitchen area, and one of the girls girl characters climbed over the table and was staring him down. And I'm like, all I wanted to do was, okay, gets up and walks away, because I didn't know how to react. And of course, Ashton's like, you should have said, looks down her shirt.
It would have diffused the situation.
It would have, and how most guys would act.
I know, but I didn't even cross my mind to do that. I was just like,
and on behalf of my gender, it's not something that we know we're not supposed to. We know that. The eyes, however, don't care.
Or any other body part.
Nor does the libido. No, it's just like boobs. It's an instinctive reaction in most of us.
Yeah, so. I just can't play a male character. And I'm not saying I won't be able to later down the line.
Well, I was just curious.
That one I couldn't do. Couldn't get into the character.
Maybe it was
tried.
You tried to make him too manly, and it was more manly than you could handle. Maybe. I'm not saying it bad. I'm just, because that's part of what I've had a problem with the previous female characters is I didn't like their backstory, or it didn't feel organic. They didn't feel like a real person. They felt like the stereotype and a copy of what they were supposed to be, not what they actually should be to be realistic.
And that's the thing. He felt forced, and I didn't.
That's it. Forced. That's a good word.
I didn't like it. So it it didn't work for me, and so I might go back to him. I wanted to hold on to him because he is, he's an established character and everything, but I just don't know if I'll ever go back and play him. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I'm not going to get rid of him.
Yeah, well, you also got him to love like the 40s, I think. So
Yeah.
And one of the other two, which probably is not nearly as big of one, but there's a section of the community out there that does that, especially in online games and in role play. I know Jazz and I have known, well, Sib has too, just not as long, but Jazz and I role played with several. I know of another one on another show, transgenders. It's kind of a wish fulfillment. Not everybody makes the full-on leap, so to speak, the cutting and the snipping and all that stuff and the hormones. But it just like with Smiling Sorcerer with his cerebral palsy being able to swim and jump and do things that he can't do, with transgenders, you're born one way, you feel like you're another, and you may not be able to do or even be like that in real life due to whatever your real world circumstances are. But in a game, that doesn't matter anymore. So you can play if you're a guy, you can play the woman and play it probably better than, to be honest, some women do, because some women play women terribly. Jazz, back me up.
Well, I think that, I mean, I'm queer and pansexual, and
still makes me uncomfortable to hear people say that, because it was always told to be derogatory since I was a little boy. And now it's like, now you have to accept it. I'm like, I don't know what to do, but I'm never going to use that word.
Because I can't really say, I'm not bi, which is what I called myself for a long time, even though it wasn't accurate. I'm not heterosexual. I'm not homosexual. So
what's the pan one again? I honestly, I can't.
It basically means that I see people, I don't see genders.
Okay.
So I'm attracted to a person based on their personality. It might be a woman, it might be a man, it might be a transgender, it might be a crossdresser. That doesn't matter to me. I don't really care.
Really smart house cat.
Yeah.
Hey, furries. Hey, don't bash on my furry friends.
No fur. Thanks.
See, even she has lines to go. No. I'm fucking furries. Yeah, those guys are weird. No.
I know a couple furries, and I don't think they're all weird. I just don't do fur myself.
Just some of them.
But anyway, I played men on secretly for years, especially in EQ2. Most of the people that knew of my one character thought it was my husband, which he still is very angry with me about, because this was a psychotic, bipolar, alcoholic vampire. He was also mostly gay. And
was this
Kanan? You remember Kanan?
Yeah. Okay.
Most people didn't know I played Kanan until I came to Vale.
I thought it was I was thinking Tiberius.
Yes, that's him.
Okay.
His original name was Kanan, and then he was Eli.
I knew the last name because it was
Tiberius.
James Tiberius Kirk. That's how I always remembered him.
Yes, and that's exactly where I got his last name. Tiberius was his actual last name, but it was close to that. That's where I got it. But most people did not know that I was him when I was on Lucan. The people that thought that Jay was running off and playing this secretly, was wishing he was some gay guy or something, and he's still mad at me. Because it was a second account, so people had no idea it was me. And I was really proud of that, because
that means you're role playing. Because there's, not to butt in on your story, because there's people, I've seen you use your skill where they'll do what you just said you do, and you're like, they say like 4 paragraphs, and you're like, this is so-and-so, and then you're right. Because even though they're playing another character and they think they're being secret, the way they role play, their role play style is so unique, you can pick it out. So if you're able to jump past your own style, it's pretty good.
For people who knew me, because it was a second account, I used my OOC markers differently. I made sure that I typed people every time the way I was supposed to, because I knew my tells. And so I was really careful not to use them. And so people had no idea. None.
Yeah.
So it was nice
I
and it was
couldn't do
fun
that.
for a while. And, I really enjoyed playing this bisexual, bipolar, psychotic, alcoholic vampire. So it was a lot of fun. It was very different from Vodka. So it was a great deal of fun. But I've had other men that I've played in other games, other male characters. And it's a lot of fun. But I guess for me, I think wish fulfillment is strong. It's not that. It's nice to be in someone else's skin that's male, because I'm obviously not, and I don't live as a male in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not against the idea. So I'd have never had a gender myself. If having to tell someone that has always been really hard, because they're like, well, if you know what gender you are, you look like a woman, you're a woman. It's like, it's not that simple. And I could never put it into words until society kind of caught up and started using these phrases. And I was like, yeah, that's it right there. I never felt like a girl. And most of my friends were boys. I was a tomboy. So
Yeah.
I never felt like a girl, but I didn't feel like a boy either. So I was always kind of stuck in the middle. So role play really helped me.
Yeah.
In that sense. So, but it is hard, I think, for most people, because like I can look at somebody who's playing a gay man and say, that's a woman. That's actually might be a gay guy.
that happens. And that happens a lot. We were, meant to be talking gender, but with gender comes, I guess, sexuality as well.
Yeah.
And I have noticed that a lot of women, when they play men, they tend to play them gay too.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of them. Like they don't mind playing the male role, but they still like males.
Want to be with men, right?
Yeah.
So plus, not to be too indelicate, many women enjoy gay porn.
Yeah.
So if you are of that mindset, you're actually watching something you enjoy watching. So it kind of works out.
Interacting. I want to read a couple of comments here.
Sure.
I think it's Valcry. She says, even though I'm a girl, I usually play a male character, even in D&D. I don't really know why. It just comes naturally. In general, create more male characters than female. And it's funny because that seems, for a lot of people, that they seem to, it's like, for me, apparently now I can do both. But before Tarvala, I always leaned towards male only. And then Sotha Teleferi says, he's got a theory. Here's his theory about this whole topic. There are two kinds of people in this world when it comes to everything, actually, but it applies here as well. There are those who seek a comfort zone and stay there and do their best to make it perfect. Then there are those who always seek places outside of their comfort zone, always testing things, mostly themselves. Which I can see that. That's not that's not a bad way of doing that. Yeah.
I liked his comment.
Yeah. And I also think that for people that play opposite genders but don't ERP, I think there's more acting in there than there is otherwise.
Wish fulfillment or whatever else
it
there
becomes
might be.
It becomes something so much different if you take out the ERP and are just making a character. And for some people, there's no.
Yeah, because that's what I do. There's no ERP, and there's not even. I don't even do.
There's not a sexual counterpart to it. It's just you wanted to see what it was like, and you wanted to see if you could do it, and
she's fun.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, she's kind of a silly, girly character outside her armor. And when she goes into her armor, she's like a superhero badass. That's super militaristic and very, very strategic, contemplative. You know what I mean? Contemplative. Whew, man. Contemplative, yeah. But, outside of it, like I said in last episode, she's, she'll put her foot in her mouth and say things in ways that she doesn't mean to, and she's kind of bubbly, and she doesn't want to cause conflict with people. She wants people to be happy around her. It's just how she is. But you put the armor on, and she'll break your fingers one by one if you have information she needs.
Yeah.
So it's just she's just a different, I've had other, my other male characters, they're male. They're pretty much the same way they are all the time. But a lot of them aren't really goofy or overly silly unless they're like Barganar, which is a dwarf, and he can't
Yeah.
help but be
Bernard.
Barganar.
And
Look
my
at the
son
size of
always
ya.
plays girl characters when he doesn't role play though. But I mean, I've noticed when he plays girls, and I, was like, dude, why? And he was like, do you look at her? Why wouldn't I want to watch that? So
Mhm. And that's
Ashen.
that's why when I play a lot of single player RPGs, if you can pick the female, I tend to pick the female.
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect,
Everything.
yeah.
He's like the
he's
female
like
character.
I would rather watch that than myself.
Mhm. And when it
And
comes
I
to
was
fighting
like,
games, I
cool.
don't know why, but I've always liked the females too. And not just I actually like their that's more for their game mechanics as much as, the way they look, because the female characters in fighting games always tend to be more agile and spry and faster, which I like the fast characters. So
Mhm.
like Chunkly, my chunkers.
Chunkly.
She of the Thunder Thighs.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Quite
I
literally.
found actually I've talked to a lot of men who are gay, and they role play straight men, or they role play girls that
Are straight.
would be the opposite of what they would prefer. So I find that very interesting because most,
Okay, roll
like,
that
for
back
example,
and say it again because you lost me somewhere in there.
Okay. Well, like, most lesbians I know that role play as a straight female. And
Okay, I got you. So
And
the
most
character
gay
likes
guys
dudes,
that I
but
know
she doesn't. Okay.
role play either as a straight girl or a straight guy, regardless of their actual gender. I just find that very interesting. But when I asked about it one day, because I was just curious, as I know this is completely none of my business, but I'm really curious why you do this. And they were like, why? I mean, they've gone their whole lives not fitting in. So when they're in role play, they role play to fit in. And it's interesting.
Even though really,
right.
I mean, if you want to be blunt about role play and role play stuff, the gay characters aren't special at all.
Yeah,
because
because
so
like
oversaturated at this point, because it used to be in society, it's less than 5% of the population or whatever the statistic is, but because of that, people always wanting to be special characters in, it's why the vampires and werewolves are so popular, even though they're not really special either. It's the same thing with being gay. It's basically the same thing. So it ends up being that, like, half of the relationships are like that, Yeah. And it's no longer special, which I guess is how it should be.
And
really.
the games have gone out of their way to do that.
Yeah.
They have
more
shown
and more, yeah.
In single player games as well, where the character is gay, it's just a passing thing. Oh, he likes, when you realize that this character likes
the options for it, like some of the older. It's only been, I want to say, about probably the last 5-10 years at the outlier that have allowed, like in Skyrim or Mass Effect.
It'd be 10 years. I'd say not even 10 years.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
there
might be a few that are out that far that like were the first, but they were few, far between, and they ended up on every news channel, of course, and talk radio shows about how. I mean, trust me, I like I said before, I called into a radio show because they had that jackass Jack Thompson on there, and another one when Mass Effect, and it wasn't even a gay scene; it was just the sex scene in Mass Effect, which was literally not even a sex scene. It was something that they show on like NBC at 9:00 at night on CSI, whatever. It was like the side of someone's butt, and you knew what they were doing, but it wasn't showing anything. It didn't even show breasts in that. So, it's that kind of thing where it's just not, that's, at that
it
time.
Doesn't, and the games
you couldn't do it, and then they started to allow
unusual.
it.
Yeah, it's not unusual. In these games, like in ESO, it's mentioned casually. So it's not a big deal. If you happen to marry a woman, it's just like, I have
really
an ex-wife. And I like that because it's no longer an issue. It's like they just simply said, okay, this happens, and there you go.
The only problem I have with it is when people do it, and then they're like, "Look how woke I am." It's like, you're not woke. You're just doing role play. That's the whole what I said. That's the virtue signaling. You're wanting to show people how awakened you are, and it's like, okay, at this point, you're just being a decent human being and not giving a shit.
Exactly.
I got a question for you both.
What's up?
Do you think being a gamer, I mean, being accepted as, I don't know how to phrase the question. Okay, I'll do it the best I can, and you guys, if I don't come
We'll
across good.
correct you because
Yeah.
you are, of course, just
Okay.
a woman.
Like, do you think it's more accepted in gaming to be gay, bisexual, or whatever
Yes.
than
yes.
it is?
I would say
Okay.
across the board, because of the internet, it
It's
was accepted on the internet far before it ever really.
I would
It's still
I would
obviously an
say
issue in mainstream.
the internet probably helped guide the perception outside the internet.
Yes, because
know-
it's
Molded
it
not a
more.
problem now.
To me, it doesn't matter who you are. I think you just you are who you are, and to me, it doesn't matter.
Sib Gangsy says, "Okay, I know she said gamer, but I heard gamer."
Okay, that's funny.
That's all right.
But
That's why I was laughing. No,
that's
you're
what I
right.
wanted to ask was just, I was curious about that. If you feel like it's more accepted by people that play video games
Yes.
than out in the. Okay.
I came out in game, and two fellow gamers, long before I came out openly to people in the real world, because I was more comfortable, and I knew that most people who are gamers, I mean, granted, there are always going to be people who, the minute that they find out that your character is bisexual or whatever, they're going to punch you or act like a dick. But most of the time,
sometimes I just, at this point, when it comes to anything like that, it depends on how they do it. But I might roll my eyes if they're doing it like I'm supposed to be. If I'm supposed to be shocked by it, I roll my eyes because I'm like, all right, I get it. It's not a big deal. Why are you making it into something more than it should be?
Right.
Because at this point, you're doing more, and I'm not like the gay agenda and stuff like that. I just don't want shit shoved down my throat. I don't want anything shoved down anyone's throat. I don't want someone's political viewpoint.
Wording,
Phrasing.
phrasing. We were talking about phrasing earlier.
Phrasing.
Okay, I'm okay now.
You're all right. I'm the immature one.
I never said I was mature.
Dick. But
getting older is unavoidable. Growing
right.
up is optional.
Yes, that's for sure, and that's words to live by. But I politics, your religion, your sexuality, I just don't care. Just be a decent human being. Don't be an utter twat waffle all the time. Just half the time, you're all right.
Yep.
So anytime somebody's like, no, you have to accept me. It's like, I already accept you, but you have to. All right, you know what? I don't accept you anymore. Not because of what you are, but because you're a moron. that's where I come down on it.
I always kind of caution people when they're when they do that, because it's like, that doesn't help you in any way, shape, or form, and B, you can't make anyone do anything.
Yeah,
so.
it's the same. It's the same. Not to all right, we're just gonna go into everything. Fuck it. It's the same thing with people, religion. I believe God. I believe all that stuff. But and still, if a Christian person comes up to me and is like, have you known? And it happens randomly. I don't know if I just look like a sinner. But it has happened.
You've got that look, babe.
This has happened to me in a grocery store. I'm looking at like Fruity Pebbles, and some guy comes up and is like, "Do you know the word Jesus Christ?" I'm like, I'm just looking for Fruity Pebbles, dude. What? Yeah, I'm aware of it. It's like that line. What was that movie? Have you found Jesus? I didn't know he was lost. Do I have that?
Yeah, he's in my truck.
I was like, but even though I'm completely all saved and all that stuff, I was like, could you just get away from me, because you're really creeping me out, and I really don't want you in my space, because I'm just here for Fruity Pebbles. I just want Fruity Pebbles. So yeah. So anyway. So yeah, it's just going to be the most politically incorrect episode ever. And this isn't even the politics episode, which is going to be really politically incorrect. So, that's just kind of like some of the reasons and reasons why someone would want to play the opposite sex. Some of it is because, like they originally thought that maybe they wouldn't get hit on as much. But as men and women, especially in modern internet and gaming, it doesn't matter. You're going to get hit on no matter what, no matter what sex you're playing, male or female.
Oh yeah.
Silence.
Okay.
Why are we silent?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was reading.
Silence.
Still silent.
Yeah.
More silence. Well, I
But-
think
Go ahead.
that
What were you reading?
I was trying to make out what Sotha had said, but it was confusing me. But I got it now.
oh, that's good.
Sorry, Sotha, you just brought the entire show into a grinding halt. It's all your fault. It's not my inability to
Sotha!
multitask. It's Sotha in the chat. Which I will say, anybody, if you got something you want to chime in on this, feel free to call us in. Throw yourself in the caller waiting room in the Discord chat. Discord, rpmmoradio.com/Discord. If you're not already part of the Discord, we'd love to hear from you. Don't get me wrong. The chat stuff is perfectly fine, too. I'm just throwing that out there as a reminder.
Yeah, then you can bring him to a screeching halt.
Then you can bring me
Of course.
screeching hot vocally.
Halt. Halt.
Holt. Holt. Schultz.
Schultz.
But and so okay, so now let's try to how do you do it? Like we went into Sib wasn't able to do it. I've had characters where I tried before.
I avoid stereotypes. So
right, that's what I had
I
here. is
try
just
very
don't play
hard
the stereotypes
because like all of my characters start off in my head as a cookie cutter. Stereotype's a weird word, but it's not really accurate. But it's kind of what I do.
It's the best word I could come up with too.
Yeah,
tropes and tropes and.
I start off with
things.
a blank like a form, like when you get a form and then you fill it in. So I start off with a cookie cutter format for some character, and then I play them and role play them and come up with who they are and how they are and everything else. And gender is only one of those things because I roll dice for everything when I roll up a character. So I don't know if a character is going to be gay or straight or bi. I have a list. I have dice. I roll up a character. So whoever I roll up, I roll up. And weirdly, I have no male characters this time, which is just weird for me. I've never played a game where I didn't have at least a couple. I had 2 secret male characters in EQ2 and one that everybody knew. And well, you can't have secret characters here, so maybe that's part of it. But I rolled dice for everything. So, I rolled dice for a variety of choices. And I actually have more straight female characters this time around than I have ever had before. So the dice just apparently decided that. But I enjoy playing both sides. So.
Yeah, and I think I missaid that. So I actually meant you can't play just the stereotypes. I mean, yeah, stereotypes exist for a reason. I mean, women are women, men are men. The typical things that go along with that women are often more nurturing, men are kind of not as much, more a little grizzled. We're typically able to lift heavier objects, with less training, things like that. Women are often squishier and more attractive. That might be a personal opinion of mine. But you can't play just the stereotypes. And what I mean by that, and I got a perfect example here for everybody, is back in EverQuest 1. Now remember, EverQuest 1 came out in 1999. That's Project 1999, the one that's currently still running as an emulator. And about 2000, so this was the early days of like the earliest internet. This is like the AOL days. This is when if you wanted to get online, it was the, boop, 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 that day. And a lot of lonely men were online at the time because it wasn't like today where women are very, it's, at this point, I would say it's got to be like a 50-50 saturation. If it's not at that, it's so close to it as to be is basically negligible. It changes from game to game, but especially online. And honestly, when it comes to just being online, I'd say women kind of outnumber the men now with social media stuff because there's a lot of them on there. But back then, it was 90-10 male to female, if that, honestly, especially in the early 2000s of the EverQuest 1 days. So what people would do is, because the guys were so lonely at times, or so, I'm going to say pathetic, just pathetic. is
That's so sad.
it was actually is that if they saw a female avatar like a wood elf or whatever, just whatever female character, people would basically throw shit at them in the off chance that it was an actual woman, like the free gold, free loot, things like
Oh
that.
yeah, God,
And-
that was fun.
Really?
I loved that.
And people, there were plenty of guys that would roll up a female character just to get some free stuff every now and then, and totally happened.
Totally true.
Totally happened.
Totally
Now,
true.
not so much.
I totally had in EQ2. I had guys just walk up to me and hand me shit, money. I mean, just
Really?
when I was
That's
I was
crazy.
new to Antonio Bale, and I had a guy walk up and give me 5,000 gold and 2 pieces of armor. And then he hit me up like a week later and asked me if I wanted to ERP.
No.
No, actually I don't. Thanks. He's like, but I gave you this stuff. And I said, wow, I appreciate the concepts of being a whore. And I might actually do it fairly well in another life. I am not going to go down that road this time around. Have a nice day. Goodbye.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and that's how that was back in the day. Nowadays, if you play a female character, you ain't getting shit.
nope.
You're
Because
that's where
them,
equality has gotten you. You used to get free stuff. You used to get to the
Not
Not anymore. Now you're just but we actually have Sotha Telefari here on with us as a call-in, so go ahead and bring him on.
Yay.
There we go. All right. How's it going, Sotha?
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
I'm doing good.
Doing good. So what do you got? Other than derailing me with your words.
Hold on. I have to turn off the stream.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah, that echo is really, really annoying.
Yeah.
On your end, I can't hear it on mine.
Yeah. Well, did you ask what I have?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I have a few cute stories from way back on the topic, but
Go for it. If you want to.
So I used to not role play in a way, I guess impersonate
Right.
a particular female, not someone that exists, just someone I made up on forums. It wasn't really as much role play. I mean, there was role play, but not always.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually I was pretending to be a female in real life and as a character, right?
Right,
This
okay.
is way back. This is like back when I was in high school or something.
The early days.
Yeah. And it worked. It was so much fun. Like, I'm telling you why I did it is I didn't do it on purpose. Someone kind of like thought that, and then that triggered something in my mind. So I said, oh, this could be fun. So I continued the ruse, got really good at it, apparently. Then I just kept that character going, right? That persona. So it was really fun. That's probably one of the major reasons why I still roleplay mostly females, even in the ESO.
Right.
But this was back on forums on like, I don't know, 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
when I
nowadays, like,
stopped it-
you don't care if
yeah.
somebody knows obviously you're on here and a lot of people are going to hear you. So clearly now, if somebody
No,
knows
most
you're a dude,
people,
you
when
just
they-
don't care. And it's just,
I
it's not
don't, though.
a
I
secret.
try to slow roll it because I like people to experience the fact that they think I'm a chick
right.
until they find out, and they're always surprised.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the fun part. Anyway, I'm not doing it out of creepiness or anything like that. It's actually fun.
Yeah.
Trust me how fun it is to find out that someone doesn't know you are.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm gonna tell them eventually, but for a moment, it's actually fun.
yeah. Well, and I don't go out of my way to hide it, but the first thing out of my mouth isn't out of character. Like, by the way, I'm a dude. I play the character, and when it comes, and I talk out of character as myself. So, I don't do anything to hide it, but I also I'm not like throwing it out there just because I feel some obligation to it. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So the reason I stopped on the forums, though, it's not that funny. It's a little funny, I guess. Is someone, I guess, kind of fell in love with me
Oh.
with the persona.
With the
Was a guy.
persona.
Yeah. So my nickname was Bloody Mary in French, Marie Sanglant. Anyway, so, and I had this whole, like it was a proper RP, minded character, meaning I had like a backstory. I kind of had things about like what, not where I live, but, the kind of stuff I do, what profession I have in real life, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So it stopped when this guy who I could tell right away, like for a long time, that he was like, he had a crush on me.
He
right?
was digging
wanted
on
to-
you. Oh,
Yeah, he was trying to meet me. He was trying, obviously I would dance around that very cleverly, I think. Until one day he was like a lawyer student or something. He started looking up because I was supposed to be, this was actually my real profession. So I kind of borrowed that from my own life. I was a software engineer. So he started looking for like companies where I might be working based on the zip code and my IP and all that. So I got a little scared.
Yeah, right.
I got a little scared. So I kind of like, that's when I stopped.
In other news today, an unassuming French guy was found dead in the streets with no reason whatsoever. Just
No, that would be a
the
little
strange
scary.
phrase, "You lied to me," written in lipstick on his mirror.
Well,
Yeah, that's a little, and what's funny is you say that too, but that stuff happens to, it happens as much, even if you weren't playing
I
doing the chick
I
thing.
do not think the guy would have killed me or something.
No, I'm just
He
exaggerating.
just wanted to talk to me because I was friendly to him and I was, we were having fun, just
Right.
chatting
Yeah.
about endless stuff with everyone. So,
But
Yeah, but even though, I'm going to throw this out here, even though you think it's innocent, it could still end up being something very terrifying. I mean,
yeah, because you
what was
never
it?
know how people
What-
react.
that's true. But see, you guys say that, but it's only brought up in certain situations. But that's true. There's no different from what I was doing or just being myself. I don't
Right.
think it's any different.
Yeah, it was as much
There's
your
like that
personality as it was the part where it was female. I get that. Yeah,
And-
that makes sense.
and it's easy to fall in love with somebody's personality. I mean, even if you don't know what gender they are, it doesn't matter. I mean, because you fall in love with the person,
Mhm. Yep.
Who they are on the inside. To me, at least that's how I look at it.
I'm pretty much just completely straight attracted to physical attributes.
You would be You're a bad person.
But yeah, you play, and you said you play largely, and because of that, now you almost play exclusively female characters.
I mean, it's not necessarily because of that, but because it is fun. I still stand by what I said, my theory earlier. It's just more. I tried playing male characters initially. It's just not as fun for me.
Well, I mean,
it's fun for other people, and I do my best, and I think I do a good job.
Yeah. And
Just not
you do kind of
as in-
play a male person like the whole rest of your life,
Yeah.
so you've already got
Yeah.
that experience down, right?
Yep. Exactly.
You're already a
And
guy, so why not try something else?
And it's your money. Why not play what you want to play? Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You're the one paying for the game. So
So since we got you here, Sotha, what have you found? I know you had said something about what stereotypes is it that you go off of when you're playing a female character? Because you said you embrace the stereotypes more than you reject them, basically.
Things my character would say. It's hard for me to come up with a straight example.
Oh, you're just on the spot. Why not?
But
just like the
Just in
mannerisms and things
general,
like
so-
that.
what I can say right now is just in general, when I write stuff, if I'm sensing you guys would start typing, one of these stereotypes, and you would stop and like, oh no, that's like so cliche, right? So you would stop and you delete and you write something else. You
It depends on the
perhaps
stereotype.
bend over backwards to try to make it different or whatever. I don't do that. I actually, I don't have a problem with using a stereotype if it makes sense. So
No,
and I
no,
found,
that makes sense.
yeah, what I meant
and I found
by
what I
avoiding
found,
them
though-
is like combining all of them into one person, like the tee-hee-hee and the hair flip and the bites her lower lip and the, giant boobs and the small waist and the giant hips. That, I mean, all, the stereotypical like 1950s
No, I do
50s
that.
version of that. That's kind of what I meant, which some of that obviously I'm perfectly okay with. But if you put
No,
it all
I
into
do
one
that. See,
package,
that's an
it
example.
sucks.
I totally do that.
Yeah.
But the point is, I guess, I'm going to sound a little arrogant, but the point is, I guess, to realize why people do that or would do that in real life. Because people would do that in real life, right?
And it's
Nowadays.
just, well, yeah, I mean, there's those people that get like 50 plastic surgeries to look like what their version of the perfect
Well,
woman
no.
is. So
I think most often they would do the hair flip and that, what you described, the bimbo-ish type of thing. They would do it kind of like on purpose, kind of like as a
yeah.
preening,
Yeah.
proud kind of thing, where they know they're doing something, that is what
Well,
it
just
is.
yeah, I mean, there's a reason it's a
But they're doing
stereotype,
it
and
on
that's because
purpose.
people do
So
it.
my character does that all the time just to like poke fun at people.
Yeah.
Just to
Ah.
lord it over someone when she did something or to seem cute. But it's always obvious. I try to make it always obvious that she's doing it on purpose. She knows what
Right.
she's
She
doing.
knows. Well, and that's. I mean, let's be honest. Women aren't stupid, especially when they know what they look like and they know how. I mean, how
Exactly.
easy men are when it comes to certain things. So there's like
Would
I
you
said,
say you're doing it to get attention? I mean,
or is it
for
just
the attention?
just a character thing?
Why my character does it or why do I do
No,
it?
would you say your character does that to get attention?
No,
I mean, 'cause-
like for example, if when she has a few, I guess let's call them enemies.
Right.
She's very political, so she has a few enemies, a few people she's always been at odds with. They happen to be female. So the way they taunt each other is
Mhm.
often through these kind of like, displays of like, smug grins
Yeah.
or like giggles, smug
knowing
giggles.
a
or,
woman,
That's gonna
yes,
say.
I totally understand what you're
There's
what you're
nobody
saying.
worse to a woman than another woman that's
Oh
jealous.
no, women are horrible to each
Yeah.
other.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's
Yeah, I get what you're saying now. I get you.
So I think the stereotypes I find is just I think most people they don't always know why people do it. So they put the context, they put the stereotype or the action. I don't even like calling them stereotypes. They put the action in the wrong context.
Right.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what you guys mean by stereotype.
Yeah,
Meaning
it's just
putting a particular action in a context that doesn't really make sense. In that
Yeah.
case, I don't do that.
it's stereotype is the best word I could think of. I
No,
you know what I mean.
think
It's just it's got a lot of negative connotations to it too. But I mean, like I said, a lot of stereotypes they exist because a stereotype doesn't have to be negative. It's just something that's widely accepted as the way a certain group of people or a gender or whatever might do a lot of. So the stereotype that all women wear bras. It's kind of just not all of them do, but there's a reason that they almost all do, and because that's the stereotype that they need to support. So
that's a stereotype that they need to support.
that's right. Technically, I mean, if you go off the definition of stereotype, because not all of them do it. There's a Seinfeld episode on that. But no, I appreciate you calling in. So before we let you go, you got any shout outs or anything you want to give to anybody in your role play?
Not really. No.
All right.
I'll keep
You
watching.
heard it here. He doesn't like any of you. Do better.
I don't do shadows.
That's right. You're all right. I know to shout out. All right. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Sotha. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Sotha.
See you
Have a
guys.
good one.
Bye.
So yeah, that's and he not and that's the thing. Everybody does their role play in different ways. There's no real one right way to do it all. There's lots of
There's
different
the right way.
mentalities
It's
and
my way. Sorry. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm. No, it's okay. But yeah, so when it comes to like playing either role, playing male, playing female, I know we've focused a lot on playing females, but when it comes to the men too, it's it's this stereotype of the big dumb musclehead 2-dimensional kind of thing, or the neo wannabe anime man boy kind of thing. It's there's more than one way to play that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be all one or all the other. it's like everything. There's subtleties. It's just like creating different personalities for any character in your writing. It's you do have to come up with something that's believable. You can do somebody that's super manly, but they can't be that way nobody's that way every second of the day, because if they are, they're probably an asshole. I mean, most of the manly, I mean, come on, you guys, girls, back me up.
No, it's true.
Most of the men that are like,
Yeah.
man, hey, I don't need to put up with that fucking shit. They're like that all the time, and they're assholes. If you do that when you need to, that's cool, but you can't, if you're always like that, typically you're treating people like shit all the time. It's the same thing with the, I just don't get tornadoes. They're so strange kind of people. And that's a quote from a girl I actually knew once. So, but they're not playing stupid. That person's just stupid. And it's not because they're a woman. It's because they're stupid. It's they're willfully ignorant and choose not to do that. And there's that too. Some things go beyond gender. Not everything really is about gender. There's a few things that are definitely specifically towards it. Hormones, make people certain men a little bit more aggressive than women. Women more, estrogen might make you a little bit more sympathetic or whatever the hell it is. Estrogen, moody, weird, crazy. Estrogen does to women. But a lot of things it's as much just a human condition as it is anything tied to a gender. People that stay willfully ignorant, or they're just not smart, or maybe they're super smart, but it's just all those things have to factor into that stuff if you're playing any character, but especially if you're going to play the opposite sex, because you don't want to play, I guess unless you're playing, if you're going to play an effeminate dude or a really butch chick, I guess, then go for it. Just, like who is his name? He plays in ESO at the tea house.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He's super effeminate, and clearly, gay, because he's got a husband. Gravos. Yeah, because I love
Gravos.
Yeah, I got nothing against him, but Tarvala hates him. Kennex likes him. But I have a character that they're both in. The reason Tarvala hates him isn't because he's gay. It's because she said she was an uncultured like a Nord, and she took that as a personal insult, and she doesn't like to be called a Nord because she's dark elf. So she hates his guts now, and she's very sensitive about her size, which is sometimes a female trait, that they're sensitive about certain body parts, either being too big or too little. It's women are complicated like that. There's no such thing as the perfect body when it comes to people in general. It's even men. There's always something, even the bodybuilder, there's something I'm sure they're not happy with. I'm going to guess with steroids, it's the size of their dick, but the rest of them is really big.
Oh my goodness.
What? We all know it makes it. There's a little bit of shrinkage there. Just saying. That's kind of what we do. We're talking with the stereotypes, and women, the big-breasted bimbo or the cutesy, overly, sick, flirty, like anime characters. That's kind of where those two things go at. Is that kind of? Does anybody have anything to add on that one?
I think anime cornered their market on stereotypes for girls,
totally.
For female. That one cracks me up when you brought it up.
Yeah, it's, they're either they've got their chest has their own physics, which, dead or alive. It's, anti-gravity, or they're this cutesy little senpai noticed me kind of thing. It's so... It always goes one way or the other in anime, or if you're going with the anime thing too, you've got the pretty boys like Final Fantasy does with they're all, they're sort of this androgynous pretty boy kind of boy band look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
which is funny. I have to add this in just real quick. The other day, our son took off his hat, and he had been at baseball, so he was all nice and sweaty. Well, he put his hat on weird, and like his hair was like sticking straight up, and I was like, "You look like you're out of a boy band." And he's like, "I can't believe you just said that to me, Mom." But it was so funny because his hair was just definite boy band. Like
Yeah.
80s boy band.
Just like in sync. Oh, it was that was it
Backstreet
Backstreet Boys? Yeah.
There was other ones, but I can't remember what
I
they
don't
were.
remember them either. Paula Abdul.
That wasn't a boy band.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Are you
that's not
sure?
a boy band.
No, because she was
Yeah,
dancing
I'm
with
pretty sure.
that animated cat. That was like a boy band. Because they were
You're
taking
so
2 steps forward and 3 steps back or something like that, and they did the hokey pokey, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm tired.
Yeah, stop.
So
Walk
yeah,
away.
but that's kind of where we're at with the stereotype thing. I like I said, it's probably the wrong word to use. I don't know. It's the best I could come up with. Jazz couldn't come up with anything, and she knows more words than I do.
It is a hard thing to put into words, so I agree that that's probably the best word for it, but it doesn't quite fit.
Maybe we should just come up with our own word. Like, let's see. I'm thinking.
Don't hurt
We could
yourself.
do like, oh, I'm hurting myself. It's hurting. It's hurting so bad.
Brain freeze.
No, like, just like, thinking. Okay, go on with the conversation. I'll think on this one. We might have to have like a.
As we were saying, the difference between men and women, sometimes they just don't think as fast. And it's not necessarily a gender thing. Sometimes it's just a Sib thing.
One day we're gonna discover his body somewhere, and we're all gonna be like, I wonder what happened to him. Maybe he smarted off one too many times and she snapped.
That's right.
So one thing too is, and I had this problem too, is why is it sometimes so difficult to play the other side? I mean, if you think about it, really, it shouldn't be all that difficult. After all, we've lived with the opposite sex our entire life and interact with them pretty much on a daily basis, and yet when you see them playing it are completely and utterly clueless and unable to do it. Sib tried, and it actually wasn't a bad try. I mean, you just didn't have fun with it.
I like what Sotha said. It's more of a writing problem.
Right. With that one, I think that comes into it.
Communicating, because everybody has their own ideas about, like, women think too much about the men. They think the men are thinking these complex thoughts when guys are not.
I wonder if that beer comes in other flavors.
I mean, I've been friends with guys my whole life, and it still boggles my mind when they're like, I'm really not thinking about anything. I said, that's not humanly possible. You were thinking something. And we've had this debate. Because I can't even fathom that, because I'm always thinking something. So
like right there, I was thinking that nothing. I had nothing in my head at all.
And I had this conversation with my son the other day, because he apparently had an argument with a girl that apparently he doesn't like. They're just friends. Whatever that means.
Pulls on pigtails.
And he had said that she said, I know what you're thinking. And he was like, and Mom, I swear I wasn't thinking anything, and no one believes me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just cracked up, and my husband's just looking at me going, son, they're never going to believe me.
No, I mean, it's like we'll take the information in. Like, that's like my way to, for example, Sib can do this because I've had to drive her into work in the mornings when it's snowy or icy outside. And what is it I tell you when we're driving to work together?
I am very awake in the mornings, and I live to talk. And if he's taking me in, he's always like, yeah, please just don't say anything, because I'm not awake and I don't have anything to say. This is my quiet time. And I'm like,
right.
Okay.
The 15 minutes from the time I leave the house till I get to work, I have the radio on, I drive on autopilot, and I don't think. It's my time to wake up. It's my time to decompress and get ready for the day mentally. But like literally nothing's going on up there. Like, I can hear the weather report, I can hear the news stories, and I'm thinking on them sort of. But it's like a secondary program. The primary CPU is still like warming up, and there's nothing going on upstairs. I'm not thinking.
It's true. but it's really hard for me. And so when I role play a guy, I have to remember that it's not always complicated. And if you want to play a guy successfully, you have to be willing to understand that men are not women.
Right. Yeah.
And
Like, I'm
that
not
can be
thinking
very,
of what we're
very
going to do
hard.
for dinner. I'm not thinking what I got to do after work.
And I think that was my
Doesn't happen.
problem. I was overcomplicating playing a guy because to me, I'm like, there's always got to be something in your mind. Like you got to be thinking something. Come on.
Maybe you're thinking breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah.
But you're thinking
Yeah.
something,
Well,
but no. And
right.
I've
Well,
had
I
this
mean,
conversation
obviously
with my
we're on.
children and with
There's
my group.
things like so. I mean, we're always thinking something, but technically, something doesn't necessarily have to be anything. If you really, I know it sounds at odds, but like I'm not thinking of. I'm clearly my brain is processing and thinking of. All right, well, don't collide with the car in front of me and all this
Yes.
and that stuff. But that's literally it's something we at my age now. I don't think about it. Like I'll literally end up somewhere across town without any memory of how I drove there at all. I'll just suddenly come out of my stupor and be like, oh shit, how'd I get here? Yeah,
That's
and
called
maybe
the
that's
car
not the-
driving itself. Yes, that happens to me quite a bit too.
right. That's not just a male
But,
thing. That's just.
I mean,
that's
yeah,
what it's
because-
like. That's the best I can explain for it is when
Yeah.
you shut off
I've
so
had-
much you don't know.
Yeah. My husband will be driving, and it doesn't happen often because I drive him crazy when I'm not driving. So I drive because it's just better. I might be a backseat driver. Anyway,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
so, but if I'm not driving, and one time I forget I had hurt my foot or something, so I couldn't drive. And so he was driving, and he had this really strange expression on his face. And so I said, "What are you thinking?" And he was like, "Thinking about the road." I'm like, "No, really, what are you thinking? You don't look very happy." "I'm thinking the road is slick. Can we stop talking?" "Okay."
Mhm.
And he's like, "Can we not do
Concentrating.
this right now?"
Yeah.
Because he knew what was going to happen is I was going to be like, "So you don't want to tell me? Fine." You know,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "Oh God, can we not have a fight this morning?" And, you know, it's always very fun.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
don't you want to talk to me?
I know, right?
Yeah, and that's
I'm just trying to talk to you. Why do you want to talk to me? Oh my God. You know?
Yeah.
I know.
It's just some of the mental, and it's just we're not wired the same. I mean, it's
No.
whether for whatever
And that's important.
whether
yeah,
it's
to
whether
understand.
it's probably a common, whether it's the hormones, it's a combination of how we were raised, and it's all expectations, societal expectations on people. It's just a myriad of different things, but we do not think the same. And you can write as though you do, and you can have an understand we can understand enough, especially to do that. Like, I mean, clearly there's when it comes to writing, you can do that. There's like Stephen King or Mark Tufo, they write excellent female characters.
Yes, they do.
And they can do it very well. And I'm not talking in the snarky way of it was the Jack oh my God, I just forgot his name. That played the Joker, the original, the old
Jared, no.
Jack. He was in The Shining. Jesus,
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. Yeah, that was
You're
sick.
welcome.
Thank you. God, that was embarrassing me. But when he was playing that,
Yeah, you were embarrassing me too.
that
It's okay.
movie where he was the writer, but he had no social skills, and the woman wrote up and is like, "How do you write women so well?" And he's like, "Well, I take accountability and reason, and I ignore it." And then he
I
walks
remember
away.
that.
It's like, wow, that was really harsh, or whatever
that
it was.
fantastic.
Yeah, reason and accountability, and I don't listen to it. But clearly we can write that way. I think part of the reason it's a little more difficult in role play is because when you're writing, of course, you have a little bit more time to think. But when you're role playing, it's you're reacting instantly. You have to come up with it on the spot. You have to keep all that stuff straight. And when your brain's not really wired to be like that all the time, it's easy to slip. Like I've caught myself with Tarvala, but like, whoa, that's a me reaction. That's not a her reaction.
Yep.
But yeah, that's, we're just not the same, pure and simple. So when it comes to women, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of varies, I guess. I mean, when it comes to women interacting with other women, being snarky is a lot more acceptable because women are awful to each other.
Yes, they
There's,
are. They are
there's,
terrible to each other.
I never came home from school crying because my friend said that my chest was small or
Ouch.
whatever that all or that I had balloon tits or whatever things that like my sister would come home crying for because her best girlfriends were treating her like shit. It didn't really happen as a guy because as a guy we punched each other and then got it out of our systems and then we were friends again. That's
Right.
whereas
And I
with
think
women
I always,
y'all can hold a fucking grudge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And see, I don't have that experience as a female, so it's hard for me because...
But you know of it.
But I know of it. And so
Right.
when I play it, I play women very well, which is taught, and I know this probably sounds strange, but I learned more about being a woman from role-playing and role-playing with other women than I ever did in the first 40 years of my life dealing with women. So, and that's from dating women and
Right.
and us from everything. I did not understand women at all because my mother is a harpy. I love her, but she's a harpy. So I never really understood women. And RPing a woman has, like, you remember Alamshin.
Right. She was prissy.
Alamshin,
Very
she was
prissy.
a prissy, pretty. She was almost that stereotypical person, but yet she was
an
complex.
evil
Yes.
Disney princess.
She was very evil. And I enjoyed playing Alamshin because I never really, I wore makeup because I had to, not because I wanted to. I never did my hair. I've always had my hair just easy to deal with. So I learned a lot about being a girl that way. And I got my first manicure when I was playing Alamshin during that time period because I'd never had one. And I realized, how can I role play her getting, because remember she was obsessed with her nails.
Right. Her nails and her hair.
Yes, her nails and her hair were her obsession. And so I went and I had my nails done for the first time in my life when I was like 45. And I have to admit, if I could afford it, I'd get it done more often. It was enjoyable. And I had never experienced that as a girl. Now, it's easy for me to play guys. I enjoy playing men, and I'm good at it. But only because it's less... Men are not as mean to each other. They're jerks. They do the whole...
Macho. The macho
thing.
Yeah, jock
Right.
kind of. Yeah.
And I've had, I had a brother. I had friends that were guys. I've always been around men and truck drivers and farmers, and it made sense to me and it's easy for me. But women have been a lot harder for me to play. As you remember, Baka was very masculine and she was very intense, and I'm more comfortable with that. So I learned a lot by cross playing, by testing out and figuring out, oh, maybe the reason why I don't like to play women is because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And so maybe this is a good thing for me to do. So I started playing more women characters because up until then I had Vodka and I had a couple others, but I had 6 male characters in EQ originally. I didn't play men. I didn't play women, rather. I played a lot of guy characters that people didn't know about. So I started experimenting with different stereotypes in order to get more comfortable with being a girl. And it probably helped me a great deal. One of those weird things.
I don't think that's weird. I mean, I think it's good.
Better
It
late
goes
than
into-
never.
Yeah.
It goes into the, the thing we were talking about earlier where you, in a game, you can do and be whatever you want or
Yes.
play.
There's a
who-
freedom in that I don't
Yeah.
think a lot of people understand except trolls on the internet. But
Yeah.
I think there's a freedom to role playing that you can miss if you don't let yourself just kind of experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's and a lot of that's part of.
And you
part
could
of the
have
fun.
knocked me over with a feather when you started playing Tarvala.
Yeah. Oh, you.
Because up until then, I had suggested it to you you had one female character in EQ. What was her name?
Tarvala.
Tarvala.
Was it Tarvala?
It's
Maybe
the
that's
one,
why it's so familiar.
I don't reuse the names often, but since she never got off the ground, I was like, I'm going to use that name because I liked it.
Okay.
I made it up as far as
remember
know.
your female character, and I really thought she was cool.
Yeah.
You just never
she
really
was
got into her. But...
Right, because I just, well, and I'm also, my problem too, I'm not an alcoholic like you. I tend to focus on one character because I and I loved Xanus. I loved playing Xanus.
And I had 23 characters.
Right.
So, yeah.
But with Tarvala, the original Tarvala, EQ2 Tarvala, she wasn't all there in the head either.
Right. She was fun, and you did a really good job with her. And I told
sadistic.
you, for somebody who is such a pain in the ass, you actually play a woman really well.
You just say it, misogynistic pig.
Yes, okay. I didn't want to go that far. And I don't think you're misogynistic.
No, I play the role very, very well, but
yes.
I actually respect the hell out of women.
Yes.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. That's the thing. If anyone hasn't figured out my secret by now, I tend not to joke about it if I don't. If I actually, I don't joke about. I'll constantly joke about the things I know exactly where I land on it, and which is pretty much everything. I know pretty much why I think of everything, and I also don't hold that kind of hatred or dislike in my heart towards anyone but stupidity. So
yeah, I have a hard time with that one too.
Yeah,
but yeah,
if you're Republican, Democrat, gay, straight, Canadian, whatever else might be wrong with you, Canadians, you're adorable. I don't give a shit. The only time I care is if you're hurting someone else. People that blow themselves up, people that kill other people, people that put people into actual slavery, like we were talking last episode. Those are the kinds of things I have a problem with. Also, things I don't typically run into on a day-to-day basis. Like I think I've told the story. The one guy I've not ran into a lot of flat-out racists, but I had one guy on my mail route who was dropping the N-bombs on me because those effing Ners were always blocking his mailbox, and he had bills that had to get out. I probably could have lost my job for the way I spoke to him, but would have been worth it because I told him how it was going to work if he kept talking like that. And that's, and I made promises that I couldn't keep, and like saying that we would shut down his mail if he continued to do that. Although I might have been able to convince a postal inspector to do that, because it was, he had parked in front of, I was driving, he had pulled in front of me, cutting off a mail vehicle, keeping me from continuing on my way. So he blocked me in and then proceeded to cuss me out and stuff like that, all for something that happened at his house and is out of my control. So, and that guy I had to shut down. And that's, probably the only other time I've actually had that happen. I actually thought of this recently. It was it was such a weird thing. You remember that story about, it was years ago now, probably 10, 15 years, about the trucker that drugged the gay guy underneath his truck over miles and just disintegrated him on the highway?
Yeah, I remember that one.
Well, I had said at the job I was at then, about to post the job somewhere else, how horrible that was. And there was a black guy. He was an older guy. He's definitely old school. And he got indignant. He was pissed that I had said, it's like, wow, that's a horrible thing to do to anybody. Because it's a horrible thing to do to anybody. It's a horrible way to die. And man, he got so pissed off, and he like, don't even touch me. Don't talk to me. And like, honestly, at this point, I don't really want to, because if you think it's okay to drag anybody underneath the truck for 4 miles and have them disintegrate on a highway, I don't think I really want to know you, because you're terrible. Those are the two biggest. One was complete and utter racism. The other one was like the first real homophobic kind of thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like, I mean, I'd heard people like, them gays and their agenda, and even that, that's pushed. I've never seen it to the point where like, yeah, I'm glad the guy died. That was a first for me, Yeah.
And and you don't, I don't even come across that as much anymore.
It's like that.
I certainly did, 20 years ago. I don't as much anymore. I honestly feel that we're getting better in that department.
Yeah. Now if they would just let it happen and stop getting in the way of it.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't
it? But that's again another episode. So I think that we might start wrapping things up here, but because I think that covers most of it. I can't.
Yeah, I think we have.
Think of any other things. Just if you've never tried it, and I get it. If you don't want to, don't. Don't feel obligated. Like I'm homophobic or trans or whatever the phobics are. First of all, you have to be afraid of something to be phobic. I hate those words, by the way. I don't know, Jazz, if you agree with me on that one or not. I'm not. I don't think everybody's afraid of them. Now, if they're actually afraid of them, okay, I get it. But I'm more afraid of spiders. Like arachnophobic, that is a real thing. I know for sure. I if I see a spider on me, I definitely run screaming. If a gay guy touches me, I'm like, are we going out now? Are you paying? I'm willing to let you pay. No.
You're going Dutch.
No, see if it's going Dutch. You know what? We'll just hold hands.
Just hold hands.
But anyway, so just it's worth a try. I mean, if you've never played the opposite gender in your role play, give it a shot. You might surprise yourself because it really does take you out of your own head to do that. It's definitely something to give a shot to. That's all I got. I really can't think of much else. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's an episode I really kind of wanted to do, but with some people not showing up on time and others not showing up at all because they don't know how things work.
All right, ready? Shame.
I know. I'm so ashamed.
I
made it home in record time.
I bet you did. Yeah.
I'm just glad you made it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been
I
speeding.
flew in the house and I
I
flew through the living room and I was
Don't
like,
talk to me.
y'all, don't talk to me. Don't touch me. I have to get to my podcast. Slammed all the doors and sat down.
Yeah, but no, I apologize for my. I'm so fucking tired. It's just been a long ass day. So it's and probably next week won't be much better. But so that
after that, it'll be better.
Yeah. So and I think Kishmas will still be out next week too. He said he was going to be out 2 weeks. Hopefully, we'll have Sibh'Bae back and Jazz won't be moving people.
Yes, I won't be moving someone, and I will be here.
But so I'll go ahead and thanks everybody. Thank you to Sotha Teleferry for calling in. Appreciate that.
Yes, thanks.
Thanks for everybody listening and tuning in live at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Next week, we're actually going to go over a few things I didn't get to this week because I'm still trying to figure out how they work. But because we are now official Twitch affiliates, you guys will be able to actually go ahead and not only like our page with a little heart, but if you want to, you could subscribe to it, which actually is like a $5 thing. If you have Twitch Prime, you can actually subscribe using that. Everybody with, or not Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime. Everybody with Amazon Prime gets one free Twitch subscription membership. So if you're not using that, go ahead and throw that our way. I won't say no to it. It's like $4.99. You get some extra little things in the Twitch chat, which is cool. I'm still working out the kinks, so that's why I mentioned it at the end of the show, not at the beginning. And by next week, I'll have it fucking figured out because I'm still learning this stuff along with all of you. For those on the podcast, again, thank you for downloading and listening. As always, I am Ashen Phoenix, and thank you again to Sib and Jazz, and even Sibh'Bae and Kishmas.
Thank you.
Guess.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, guys.
Night.
So with that, tune in next week when we'll have Professor Redeep teach us how to tell the difference between male and female halflings. Next time on RPMMORadio. Good night, everybody. The thoughts and opinions expressed on RPMMORadio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and original music.